negative energy, and she was talking about how they were like, how come you're not getting mad right now? And she was like, thinking like, I'm not getting mad because I'm just balanced. I learned to control my emotions, and one of the things that she believes, right, or maybe that I started to believe because of what I listened to, and then like she kind of concreted it, solidified it, there we go. She kind of like solidified it inside me, and I also had a conversation with my friend about this a long time ago, meaning like a couple months ago, about like negative energy, right? Like when somebody takes that gross energy and they say something shitty to you or whatever, right? And then you feel shitty or fear, right? Like my daughter stopped breathing when she was 3 months old, and I remember my boyfriend at the time came out of the room with her, and he was freaked out, like obviously a corpse, right? And he was like, look at her, she's not breathing. And then that fear transferred to me, and then we couldn't think correctly because we are now hyped and scared and fear, right? So fear and negative energy, you can transfer it to another person, and then it's almost like negativity and fear and shame, they want you to keep on transferring them, like as if they're a living thing, right? Like an entity of some kind that it's like it wants to keep going. It goes, I'm fear, make other people afraid, and then you're like, I am afraid, and then the other person's like, me too, like fuck, and now we can't think correctly, right? Like now we can't form a plan of action. We're kind of like just focused on transferring that fear or that negativity, right? Like somebody said something shitty to me, and then you go and you tell somebody else, can you believe what blah 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 said? She said blah blah blah, and then that person's like, what blah 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 said? Blah blah blah. Oh my god, like what a bitch. And then now it's like a big negative snowball, right? Like, and then they're gonna go, guess what blah 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 said? Oh my god. Or like a dude, like, it could be dudes too, or it could be a dude talking like this, I don't know. So but what does that serve, right? Like nothing. Why is it like this veil of, I don't know, like we get stuck in this narrative where we feel like we're supposed to send it to the next person, right? What if we don't? What if we stop that? Like that seems like a pre-programmed thing, right? And when you study, okay, sorry, let me finish that thought. It seems like a pre-programmed thing to keep it going, right? Keep it going. Hot potato, transfer that fear, transfer that negativity, gossip, right? It's taking your time to gossip, but is it helping anything? Is it lifting you up in any way? I don't think so, right? So now transfer over to meditation, right? And prayer. So prayer, meditation, I'm going to mend those and meld them into the same thing, okay? Because I don't feel like there's a difference, okay? So prayer, meditation, even manifesting, I believe, all the same boat, right? So if you study like monks and Buddhism and things like that, where the meditation, the goal, right, is balance, balancing your emotions, not swinging the pendulum too far to the left, too far to the right, not getting too angry, not getting too gigantically happy, right? Like there's studies on dopamine and serotonin where if you have, okay, so dopamine is like the chemical in your body that makes you motivated to go and get serotonin. Serotonin is like the happy chemical, right? You did it. So if you studies have shown that if you celebrate too hard, like you'll get tired of striving for that goal, right? It's kind of like the analogy of a football player. celebrating in the end zone, right? Like, you can only celebrate so many times before you're like, yay, another touchdown, like, whoop-de-woo. So it's kind of like that, right? Like, we should try to balance out how much we are doing anything, right? Like my friend says, moderation, everything in moderation, including moderation, right? Like, balance, don't get too angry, it's all about like breath control, so that you're controlling your heartbeat, you're controlling your breath, you want it to be balanced, you don't want to have too high of a heartbeat, you don't want to have too low, right? You want to be balanced, you don't want to be super angry, you don't want to be like angry at all, right? So if that's the study of kind of like your higher self is being balanced and not too like heightened or too low, right? Like, depression sucks. Or sorry, I don't mean to say it like that, but you know, like, depression can be a bummer. And you don't want to be in it. So you are going to pass me like that as slow as possible. See, there I go. I let my emotions get the best of me right there. Yeah. So, okay, so what if, like, you're not supposed to get too negative, too fearful, because it feeds something in us that distracts us from becoming a better person, right? It distracts us from helping other people. Like, helping other people is a goal, right? Like, we can't just all be on this one railroad track, right? Like, I'm just on this railroad track and I can't help anybody else. It's all me. Like, no, I'm over the past, like, I guess, especially 2020, right? It has caused me to reevaluate the things that are important to me and the things that are not important to me, right? So, like, if you can't leave your house and you can't go to your job, which you thought your job was important and making money was important, hi, it's me, that's what I thought. Now what? Like, what's important, actually? My family, helping other people that need help. Sometimes I need help too. Like, you know, like, we're all on this earth together. Wow, okay, so making money, well, what does money get you, right? Like, I don't care about money per se. Money is just like a piece of paper, and it's not even a piece of paper anymore, right? It's it's intangible pretty much. Like, my bank account I can't touch the money that I make. Very rarely do I take out cash even, so money isn't important. It's the things that I can get with money as a currency to ebb and flow and help me, right? So it's helping me. I can help other people. I don't necessarily need money to help people. So how can I help other people? Well, knowledge, right? We can all help each other with pieces of knowledge that we pick up in our lives, reading books, watching videos on YouTube. I do that a lot. Listening to podcasts. Like, taking classes. Like, they say that knowledge is power, and I beg to differ. I think that knowledge is not power, not something you should lord over someone else. I believe that knowledge is meant to be shared, right? Like, we can all read a book and come away with different things that we got out of that book than somebody else that read the same book, what they got out of it. And so then we get together, right? And then we talk about what we learned together. Like, oh, you thought you learned this? Oh, I learned this. This really stuck with me. Like, oh shit, I don't even remember that part. Cool, thank you. Right? So, and then that goes back to tribes, right? Like, we need to cohabitate and live together, and everybody has something that they're good at to contribute, which is not better than what somebody else can contribute, okay? So, like, it's just all something that is good, and we need it, right? So we're all equal. Everybody has something that they're good at, and it's different than what somebody else is good at, right? Like, we all have our own life purpose too. So my life purpose is not the same as your life purpose. Doesn't make it any less important, just a different life purpose, because we're all equal. Anyway, so me and my friend were talking about, like, negativity. What if the point of negativity is, and like fear and all these low vibration emotions, right? What if the point of them is, if you are able to take them, and like if somebody like put that negative on me, or some fear, right? Like, have you ever noticed if somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh my god, something or other, they're like already heightened, right? Like, they're yelling at you. They want you to also be in the state that they're in. But that's not going to help anything, right? Like, so you have to kind of stop and think, like, why are they in this state, right? Which isn't easy to do. It's not easy to remain balanced while somebody else is screaming and heightened. But it's better that way, right? So what if the point of when somebody puts that on you is to not pass that on, right? To not gossip to somebody else something that you've heard, if it doesn't serve anything, no learning, it doesn't pass on knowledge in any way, it's just negative and shitty. What if you're supposed to take that energy, right, and turn it into something else? Because it's energy. You can't, like, hide it, right? You can't. It's energy, but you can convert energy. We've learned this, right? In science, you can convert energy. So what if we convert that energy into something else? We change that vibe. We change that vibe somehow, right? Like, and however you're thinking, like, do that, because that's where my knowledge ends. I don't know. That's it. That's the end of my thought. Like, don't pass that negative energy on. Change it into a higher vibration, a more positive energy. I'm not saying we can't have like, be positive all the time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, what if you can, your job is to change that energy and not pass it on in the form that it is, because it's unhealthy and it's not serving anyone, and it's actually unhealthy. And then, I don't know. Yeah. That's just a random thing that needed to get out.